Today's topic is going to be really, really good, I think. Maybe I shouldn't say that. But I think it's going to be a good topic. And it's a teaching by Rabbi Noach Weinberg, the founder of Aish. And it's about achieving inner peace. So, a sense of inner peace of mind. And I wrote The Art of Navigating Breakups. Have any of you been through one of those? Dating itself, work, and people in general. Ma'amido al hashalom, which means to put people in a place of peace. And I'm talking about inner peace. We believe that peace really starts inward, outward. When you have inner peace inside, you'll be able to get along with people as well. Someone's successful and it bothers you, it won't bother you. I'm peaceful in me. I know that my life is good, I'm in a good place. Yes, I'm challenged and I'm going through stuff. But I don't need that person's life. I have my own life. I have my own blessings that I can count. And I don't need to count someone else's blessings. That's a big part of inner peace. When someone has an argument, the ego, the anger, all of that stuff that happens, and we're all human. This is not just you. Don't think I'm talking to you. I'm talking to myself. It's an inner problem. It's an inner problem. If I'm not getting along or if I'm blaming someone, almost always is an inner problem. So that's right. That's why, the theme of what I always talk about is going back to the source. Where's my, if you see, we used to have red cars. So 2 red cars, we have 1 now. And it's in the, whatever. We used to have 2 red cars. Suddenly, when I got the red cars, I saw so many red cars on the street. Interesting. When we got a stroller for our baby, for the first baby, and we were walking with it. It was a whole competition, me and Shira. No, it's my turn. I'm going to walk with it on the street. And we were walking with our new baby, Debbie, when she was, can you believe it? She's so big now. So she was on a stroller for the first time. Suddenly, that was when I started seeing strollers all over the street. I saw them everywhere. And I'm not just talking about the stroller with some dog inside. I'm talking about strollers with kids in it. Yeah, it's funny because that's what you see more often here in California. But we were in Israel, and I suddenly saw the strollers. I knew the company. I was like, oh, that's the same one as ours. Oh, that's the similar one as mine. Oh, we didn't get that one. It was like a whole world. So when you're living a certain lifestyle, you project that lifestyle to others. You see it in others. If you have a red car, you see red cars suddenly. If you have a stroller that you're busy with, you suddenly see a ton of strollers in the street. What am I telling you? That you see a lot of the problems in others. It's just a projection. I'm not saying that you should, it's not for me to tell you. This is a person who wants to be strong, to grow, needs to tell himself that I'm really projecting what I am seeing all the time in myself. If I'm not getting along with this person, there's something that they do that I have in me that's bothering me. It's my problem that I have in me that I can't manage with this person. And so on and so forth. So really, peace is really defined by inner peace. And we're going to talk about that tonight. Okay? So it says that you should be complete with Hashem, complete with God. Tamim tiyeh im Hashem Elokecha, which means be whole. Tamim means be simple. But really, the translation, the rabbis say, it means shalom, be complete, be shalom, peace, be whole with God. And what does that mean? Well, the Torah tells me that you shouldn't, in those days, the pagans and whatever they had then, they used to take their child and sacrifice their child and use different fires and stuff to get to see the future. They would be able to, with witchcraft, there was a lot of witchcraft. And people used to do different things to be able to get to know, speak to their dead. There was ways that, back then, the Talmud says that this stopped, but there was a period of time in the world where witchcraft was huge. And it was a way to see the future. And the Torah says, don't do that. Don't try and see the future, because you predict your future. Even though you may be predetermined, if someone reads your palm, we're not so excited about palm readers. You know why? Not because it's not true. Oh, it's true. We know already that you can read a palm and see everything about a person. We can read an ear and see everything about a person. There's the 10 sfirot in every part of your body. 10 elements of God, and we can actually, through each part of your body, we can actually see every aspect of who you are, what you are. It's possible. But you are beyond all of that. You can predict your future. So we're not so comfortable with people trying to envision what our future is with all this, whatever you call it. What would be the right word for washy-washy? I don't know. Trying to see the future. Witchcraft. Harry Potter style. I don't know. Whatever. So, we're trying to see all the future. Not good. Why? Because you've got to be complete with God. Do you know what that really means? It really means be settled with the place in the world that you're in. Stop trying to change the world and the place, the family, the situation you're in. You can change your approach. That you could change. But stop trying to change who I am. That's what the Torah is saying. Be complete with God, except you're different to everybody else. And just absorb that and enjoy it. And go with it, flow with it. That's the you that could be amazing, but you have to accept it. Okay? If you keep trying to be like someone else, unaccepting of the life that you were given, then you are not going to flourish to the greatest you that you can be. You can't be someone else. You can't just take your heart and your brain and put it in someone else's body. You have that body that God gave you. But try and accept that, so that way you can flourish really far forward in life. Okay, so that's what it means, be complete with God. Stop trying to speak to the dead, trying to get to know what the future is. It's not going to change anything, because you could change your future if you accept yourself. That's what it means to be in peace. So I've got some examples that I wrote down. I'm sure there's many people here that are dating or are in a relationship, was in a relationship, whatever it is. There's a lot of investment when it comes to dating. Sometimes you can travel. You can see that this is really someone that's a good prospect. I'll travel to see that person. And it really makes sense. And traveling takes money and time. And then you see the person completely different to what you saw in the video, or whatever it was. They knew how to manage that camera in a way that they looked, 1,000 times thinner than what they really are, or whatever it is. Sorry if I offended someone here. But, or something they did on social media, which makes them go, whoa, and then you flew to the other side of the world. Well, that was a mistake. You should first, speak to them. But let's say you decided that you're going to fly to the other side of the world to see this person, and you put so much investment, and then you say, this was crazy, and the hotel was a waste of money, and that's a wrong approach. Every aspect of your life is a step towards being whole, to being complete. This is not a problem. This was part of you. You have a desire, you have a will to build a family, and you want to find someone, you want a real loving relationship. That's a big part of you. Accept that part of you. And all of the process that takes you from one place to the other, in order to finally find that one person, be whole with that. In fact, the process to finding that one person is all part of your growth. I'm not saying we should ask to be in a bad relationship, but a bad relationship makes you grow. It does. Because it makes you realize what you should have, what you shouldn't have, what you really need to do. I think people grow more in a relationship than a speech by me, because through living with someone, you have to be really vulnerable and open up. Who am I? What is my plan for life? What is my goals? That's in a dating situation, you really are questioning your inner self. And that's a lot of growth. When someone's shalom, when someone's whole with his process of dating, that's a beautiful gift, because then the next time you go out, you're looking at it as a process of life. You're not fighting. It's a process of life, and it's part of me, of what's going to grow me. Okay? So that's one example. Or if, let's say, you had a rejection. You reached out. So I call it like this. And let's not only talk about dating, because that can get touchy. Let's talk about other things. So there's also rejection. I call it like this. There's rejection after I put in investment, and then there's rejection with no investment. And each one of those, we need to reframe that. If I put a lot of investment into someone and then get rejected, what's my reaction going to be? Negative. I put so much time into this, right? You start thinking about all your investment. That's called rejection after investment. So what happens is resentment, anger. Why? Why did they say no? I'm not interested anymore. What happened? A reframing mindset would say, at least I gave it everything. Because I invested, I tried. It's better to try than not to try. But I can be at peace that I put in my investment. And that's what we will call reframing your mindset. Accept the rejection. Sometimes don't, right? Because it can be really rude and it takes time to overcome that. But at the same time, I got rejected, but I put in my investment. I did my part. And that should make you feel good for the next time. Because I put in my effort. And that's important. If you invest in someone to try and make it work, not invest in the wrong way, that means you're putting in your effort. You're doing everything you could. If they rejected you, was it your fault? No. You didn't say the no, they said the no. And at least that's a comfort, that you didn't have to say no, they said it for you. So again, when it comes to rejection, accepting, be whole with the situation. I put in my investment, I put in my time. But then there's sometimes rejection with no investment. I went onto Instagram and I saw some, whatever, like we would say in America, some chick. And, no, is that what you say? Yeah?
We're going to hear it come from a rabbi.
No, it's true. But what's funny is that the most politically correct people will also say chick. And it's like, dude, is that how you respect women? You call them chicks? Whatever. Then they tell you no, but she's a number 9. I'm like, numbers? What's going on over here? From 1 to 10? Is that how you rate people? Anyway, whatever. That's just my own way of understanding. Listen, I grew up in a different lifestyle. It took me time to overcome. I had to do a lot of meditation and prayers to overcome all the dirt. I went to mikvah to clean all the dirt that I've been seeing over these years. Anyway, so there's something called rejection I grew up very, very sheltered in a very religious community. And for 13 years already, I've heard it all. I've seen it all. Okay, rejection after no investment means that I did no investment. I just messaged someone randomly on Instagram. What should be, and they don't respond. Ghosted. Anyone here ghosted? No, not did you ghost someone. I'm asking if you, no joking. So rejection after no investment means I didn't do anything to it. What can I do when that happens? What should be the response? Good. Try harder or try different.
Let it go.
Well, there's sometimes let it go, but I didn't even invest. I didn't even get to know the person. I really like, it's a number 9, whatever. So I really did invest. I didn't invest. So the question should be, maybe my method is wrong. How can I change my method? By the way, in Shalom, for peace, and we're talking about inner peace, the Shin is the first letter of Shalom. Shin is 3 letters that combined into one. And they represent your inner battle. There's many lessons that's happening here. The three aspects of you is your good side of you, the positive energy in you, the negative energy, and the reconciliation that happens in the middle. 3 is also, because a lot of times when there's an argument, you need a middle person to help make peace. And that's why Shin is the middle letter, is the first letter of Shalom, of peace. It actually represents a lot of change. When there's change, there's war. When there's change, that's when you need peace. When there's a lot of things are happening. Oh, my house, there was the interest rates went up, and now my business is at danger. That's when you need Shalom, not when it's not. That's when it's getting shaken. Shin, like Shinayim, is something that's really breaking stuff. That's what Shin represents. Okay, so that's the letter Shin. It represents 3 parts, but it's always good to have a middle part. And that's why maybe if you're hitting up on someone on Instagram, just an observation, if it's a girl, she's done. She's got so many. She's even thinking of closing an Instagram account after all the abuse that she's gone through. So what you should do is use a third party. This was an idea that I once gave to make an app for dating. Enough with all these stupid apps. make an app which has a mediator and call it the mediator. And that, I know there's something now because after I gave that, someone went and copyrighted it and made their whole business out of it. Whatever. Loop's a very good example. That was always something I always spoke about for many years. Because a mediator can vouch for you. Then there's someone in between that I trust that I would be willing to listen to and give that person a chance. Okay, so if you didn't know investment and you got rejected, maybe try a new method. But if you still did as many methods as you can and you get rejected, so rejection means redirection. It means that I went through something, let me keep trying. It builds me, it makes me stronger. The more you get rejected, the stronger you become. How do you build muscle? You lift weights, and what's that called? Well, it's called rejection, right? Kind of, okay? So that's what you're going through, and that's how you build muscle. So you build muscle with all those rejections. We don't look for them, but that's the approach that a person should have when it comes to making peace. So what do we say as Jews when we meet someone that we've not seen for a while? Shalom Aleichem. Or we say good to see you. It depends. If you're Israeli, you'll say good to see you. If you're not Israeli, you'll say Shalom. And then the Israeli would say, nice to see you. Because the Israeli doesn't want to show, whatever, it's a whole psychology. So, Shalom Aleichem means peace be on you. Where's on you? In you. That's what it really means. Know that peace, when we say Shalom Aleichem, truthfully, it means inner peace. A sense of inner peace. By the way, God's name is Shalom, and that's what it means. Shalom means shlemut. It comes from being whole and complete. So, here's how we get inner peace. Are you ready? Yeah. You ready? This is fun? You enjoying it? Or you hot? I'm hot. Not that kind of hot. I'm hot. Like. No, someone blew me a kiss. I was like, what? Okay. No one did. I'm just joking. Inner peace is, what's inner peace? To be aware. Inner peace means I'm aware that I have an inner conflict in me. It's not like I'm in peace because I'm taking some drug and therefore there's no conflict in me and I'm just like, yo, dude, right? That's just pushing away all my conflicts. The start of peace is to be aware that I have an inner battle going on. There's no point. This is a big question. You know, we say, oh, say shalom bimrumav, huya se shalom aleh. So we say that God who makes peace in the heavens should make peace on us. So the rabbis say, what the heck? God make peace in heavens? Why does he need to? The heavens is not a place of conflict. It's just infinity. So what does it mean? You who makes peace above makes peace below. Like, obviously, this is where you need peace on earth, where we're all different, where we all don't look the same. We don't understand the full mission. That's why. So do you know what it says? It says, do you know what it means? God makes peace above? Of course there's peace above. There's no conflict in any way. There's no yetzer hara. There's no negative pull in you. In the higher, once a person dies, it says, v'hametim chofshi. Those that are dead are free. What are they free of? Don't take this in a literal. They're free. Those that are dead are free. What are they free of? They're free of all the challenges of life, of the mitzvot. No more. Once a person leaves this world, we say that the person should rest in peace. Because when there's no more fighting anymore. The battle of life is not happening anymore. Outside of this world, there's no need for peace because it's already peaceful. So what does it mean that God makes peace above? It says that every angel, this is Jewish tradition, says this in Avot de Rabbi Natan, a big, one of the early midrashim. It says that every angel has his own name. Meaning every angel knows its mission. There's no two angels with the same name. Here on earth, you can have Muhammad, and you'll have Muhammad B, and Muhammad C. There's a Muhammad from Syria, there's a Muhammad from everywhere, right? But in heaven, even though they like to talk about it, in heaven, according to Jewish tradition, every angel has his own name. Meaning everyone has their mission. They understand the mission. That's peace. Peace is on earth when I get my mission. I get what I need to do. And if I don't know what I need to do in this world, I start getting angry with people. I'm focused on the problems because I don't see myself as part of a big mission. So this is why it's so important to have a purpose, to understand your purpose. So you have your own unique name, and even if you're the same name as someone else, you're Muhammad and he's Muhammad, it can even be them, because in Judaism, everyone goes, according to Judaism, everyone can get a place in heaven, right? We're unique in that aspect of our religion, that we think this way. So if two people are called the same thing, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because I know that in essence, I'm different. Every person's unique. So that's what it means. Shalom shalom aleinu. Just like everyone has a defined purpose. Oh yeah, a defined purpose up there. I just did that to make you feel comfortable. So they should feel a divine purpose here on earth also. Okay, by the way, if you need the bathroom, we'll all know about it. No problem. But there's one right at the back there, and you can feel very comfortable going there. I don't know how. Or there's also, you can go round the back, and there's one in the back house. Oh, but the door's open. Whatever.
I don't know about the back house.
Oh, apparently no, not the back house.
We had camp there today.
Guys, please feel comfortable. There's tea, there's more food outside. Actually not. Whatever. Feel at home. Okay, so inner peace means that there's an inner conflict in me. I'm aware of it. I'm having a battle in me. What is my battle? What is the battle that I'm going through in my life? And everyone is going through an inner battle. So my inner self says, let's say sometimes, the truth in me says, why are you arguing with this person? You're dating or whatever. Why am I arguing? Just say you're sorry. That's the truth. I did a mistake. I did something wrong. Okay. Admit. But then the other side of you says, no. I'd rather be angry and just not. My ego tells me, no, don't say sorry. Just distance yourself from that person. There's a battle in you. Hey, there are many, many battles, inner conflicts in you. Should I study for this exam or should I go hang out with my friends? There are many battles in you. This is the battle of the animal versus the neshama, the soul. The physical self wants comfort. It wants physical pleasures, sensual pleasures, to touch, taste, feel. Okay, that's all in you. It wants to quit. It's impossible. Fantasize about things that are like LA, all these fantasies of coming in the film business. Right? No, I'm saying a lot of people are. Please, I hope that there's some people here in the film business. Right? But there's a lot, if you go to West Hollywood. Anyway, in order to disconnect from reality or drown in passions for something that's only material. Addictive personality, that's all the physical sense. I'm happy to take any questions. Anyone's got any thought?
I have a question.
Yes.
Genuinely, I'm just curious, when it comes to like alignment of values, and because you were mentioning argument and apologizing, but what about how that's received by your partner who you're apologizing to, even if it is genuine? What if there's a discrepancy there with how it's received?
Well, I'm not saying, say sorry for anything and everything, but if they're really bothered by what you said, and admitting that you were wrong is the key to making a relationship working.
Right.
If you want marriage to work, you've got to compromise. There's three things you got to do: compromise, compromise, and compromise. That's the three things you got to do. Yes.
So there's the apology, but what if
It's fake?
I'll ask this way, what if more is needed, and what would that be, do you think?
I agree. That then, depends on what the problem was. If there was a real lack of trust in the relationship, then sometimes it's a real red flag. The scars are done. I don't know if there's a way to fix it. We're human beings. We can forgive to a certain point, but there needs to be a demonstration that this person really, really is serious. Let's say. Sorry, go on.
No, I apologize.
I like it.
To explain your intentions without sounding defensive?
Yes, and you have to.
Of course.
You really have to express your pain. You can't keep it in and just say, no, this is not an issue I should speak about. But at the same time, you need to reflect on yourself and say, is this really that pressing of an issue? So I'm not judging, but there's a No human being is perfect. Is this person trying? Do I know if he really is sincerely sorry about it already? So then what's the point? Sometimes this is part of a lack of inner peace. Sometimes you make your point and the guy heard your point, but then you repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. Like, let's say I was trying to get out my driveway. I hope that person never, there's no chance, watching my video. And they were parked on our driveway, and I will never call, I don't think I'll ever call, to get it towed away, if it's in the driveway. So I went to the person, they were in the car, I'm like, oh, perfect timing. Let me go and tell her that that you're blocking our driveway. So I go to her, and I'm like, I don't want to get this person angry, so I'm just going to come in like that kind of. And so I'm like, hey, it's really hard for us to get out of our driveway halfway in our driveway. It's the second day. I didn't say it's the second day because that's too much. But I said, this is really hard for us to get in and out of our driveway. So she says, okay, I'll move. I'll move sometime. Like something like that. I'll be moving. And then it just didn't move. But my point went across. It doesn't matter anymore. I don't think that there's any point of me, if that's their behavior, if that's who it is, then I don't think there's any reason for me to repeat that message. She understood me. She heard me. Any more repetition of my message would actually be a weakness. It would show that I am not strong with my words, and it will be weak. Also with kids, you make your message, they heard, you make sure they hear. They try and pretend they don't hear. But once they hear, sometimes I go on my knee, I'm like, come on. And I see that they listen. That when I go on my knee and I pat, I go like that on their cheek, and then finally suddenly I get eye contact. Till now there wasn't, just ignoring. And then they heard my message. I know they heard my message. Repeating is a mistake. That's also a lack of inner peace. When I know that I am strong enough, I am standing for myself, and I will stand for myself, but I won't need that urge to repeat myself 10 times because I feel like I'm not good enough, or I'm not clear enough. Right? So there's a lack of confidence. Okay. So there's an inner self, the animal self that's fighting the spiritual self. The animal self says comfort, sensual pleasures, quit, right? Procrastinate, eat, just eat and eat and eat, and comfort and all that stuff. Sounds good, but what does the soul say? No, you need meaning. You should eat, but you should have it with meaning. Accomplishments. Work out for greatness. Come great. Connect to things which are permanent, not temporary. This is your inner self talking. And connect to truth. Connect to what's real. Not fantasy island. Real. What's real? Okay? Listen to this. The soul in you wants things, but your body in you feels things. This is very important. Let me tell you. When you want to have someone that's very serious, but then you are not that place yet. Right? That means you want someone up there, but I don't feel I'm ready to be there. The soul in you is talking when he says, I want. The body in you says, I feel. You want greatness, but you don't feel like it's worth doing the effort. I want to do some, giving or something like that. I want to go and work with a nonprofit once in a while. I want it, but then I don't feel like I can have the time to do it. Right? I don't feel I have the time. I don't feel that I have the energy. I want independence. I want to be on my own. I don't want people to tell me what to do, but I do feel the social pressure. So that's the body versus the soul. Let me tell you that if the body wins, the soul is hungry and it's not being fed. But if the soul wins, then the body can follow and listen, and it's okay. But if the body wins, your soul does not feel happy. Let me give you examples. When you're really angry and you're hungry and you just need to eat, and then on the way you damage people, I don't know if that's ever happened to you, you get into the restaurant like, come on, can we just sit already? And you're like angry with your dad, your mom, whoever it is that you're with, and you start eating and you do like fingers or whatever, just giving you an example, and then afterwards the body ate, suddenly the soul wakes up and says, oh my, I really was a little embarrassing there. That's the body being fed, but the soul wakes up after and says, hello, I'm here. This is an experience that we all have. Once your passion that you're pursuing, the physical passion you're pursuing is met, your soul wakes up to you. You listen to the voice of your soul. Okay? If you're angry, did you know that temper pushes away all shame? Temper causes someone to kill someone in public. It's the anger in you that can cause murder. God forbid. And murder doesn't just mean literally, it can also mean embarrassing someone. But temper can take away your inner shame. No shame anymore. I'm angry, I don't care who's watching. I will be whoever I want to be with my anger. But did you know that if you have desires, lust for instance, and you want to be with someone that's married, you want to be intimate with someone, or do something that's inappropriate sexually, that you'll still be ashamed of. Meaning you will never do that in public. You see how temper can push you to places way further than other things. The sense of temper, of anger, can push away any shame. And it's mind-blowing. Do you know why? Because at the moment, this is what I need. That's my body screaming. Afterwards, the shame comes up. Or afterwards, then comes the shame. That's how we work. Okay? So at first, I ignore it. But then afterwards it comes up to me. Okay? What about being in the wrong relationship? That's lust, comfort, ignoring real connection or growth. I want to build a family, like we said last week, a home, a Jewish home is about growth. So if do I want a real connection with someone? Do I want to grow? Or do I want just to fill my desires? This is the big question of the body versus the soul. Lust says, ignore real connection, ignore growth. But what happens after 10 years if you're dating someone that's not for you? Or 5 years, this can happen. You're dating someone for way too long that's not for you. Eventually you say, I need real connection. That's your soul screaming. And so on and so forth. Inside of you, you are going through massive battles. You want to stand up for what you believe in, but you ignore the truth. That's a perfect example. Right? You're being too nice to say no to someone. Have this happened to you before? You don't want to have confrontation, and they want to go out with you on a Thursday night, but that night you have to be with your grandma. But you don't want to say no, because you just want to be available, so then you do it. But then once you do it, you're upset that you're doing it, and the whole vibe is bad. Does this happen to anybody? You don't get it? Yeah, that's when you feel like you want to be nice, but then you're being too nice. You don't know how to have confrontation and say, I'm sorry, I really can't do it this day. It's better to be honest with yourself. People that are honest are able to express that I can't, I'm not able to, I'm not available. It's okay to say to someone, you're not available. That's being honest. Versus, right, just ignoring or ignore, not standing up for your belief, not standing up for what's right. That's not something which is good for you. Okay? If the body wins, the soul is hungry. If the soul wins, then the body is very, very happy about it also. Okay? If the soul wins, then the animal follows. And it wants what the soul wants. Let me give you an example. You go to the gym and you start working out. Okay? And you've not done that in a long time. So you work out, right? And then your body's saying, come on, man, you're tired. You did 5 minutes, you're tired. You can't breathe. But the soul in you says, you can do more than that. Come on, 5 minutes? I can do more. I can do more. I've got to be healthy. And it starts telling you, you've got to be healthy. And it convinces you. The soul in you convinces you, I'm doing this for my health. It's good for my brain. It's healthy for me. Let's keep going. And then you push. And then you push. And then the next day you go again. You work out and you push. Do you know what happens? Suddenly the body follows. And actually, the body wants what your soul wants. That's what we call the great harmony of the soul and the body. That's ultimate spirituality. Is when the body goes in tune with your inner soul. What you really need and want, actually your body listens to. It's like being on a horse and guiding the horse. The rider is your soul. The horse is the body. When somebody's able to overcome, your body enjoys it, right? If you overcome eating and you say, okay, I'm not having this late night food. I'm just not doing it anymore. So today, it's hard because I'm pulling back. I want that food. But then, actually, what happens to your body? Does he enjoy it? He follows. He doesn't want sugar either. Or she, right? The body doesn't want, the body doesn't want, or whatever you identify as. The body doesn't want sugar either. What does the body want? It wants what the soul wants. The soul can convince the body. It's very important to know. But if the body can never convince the soul, if you are hungry for food after a full day of work and you already ate, maybe it's not that you're looking for food, it's your soul that's looking for food. And if you're able to fill your soul, your body will be satiated also. Okay? Make sense? Okay. So, we need to pursue, right, a good relationship, a real relationship, just like you have lust. Does anyone here feel like, right, once in a while a bit lustful? So just like you feel that, you shouldn't put your hand up. But just like you may feel that, channel it to finding the real relationship. That's an energy of like, right? Channel that energy for something real. That's what we need to do. If you pursue in you a real pursuit for meaning, and you want a real meaningful life, pursue it like you would for food, for a steak. This is so important. What is shalom? Do you know what shalom is? Shin, right? Fighting in me. Then lamed. Do you know what lamed is? It's the letter that goes up. It's channeling what's in me for a higher purpose. Mazal tov. It's channeling what's in me for a higher purpose. And mem is a complete circle. Mem represents in Kabbalah the end of days. Through peace, what is peace? Me going through a battle, winning the battle. What does that mean to win a battle? It's not that I suppress my physical need. I utilize my physicality for my spiritual self. On Shabbat we eat. Judaism, do we eat? Oh yeah, we eat. And we drink. But we take the physical and we elevate it. We make it a spiritual experience. That's Judaism. Taking the physical and bringing it on level with your spiritual. The driver of your horse, of yourself, should always be your soul. Your soul should be driving your body. Okay? What you want should be what drives you. And then your body should follow with, and it will follow with, and it will love it. Just like the jogger who's running, his body eventually loves what he does and craves a workout. Eventually your body craves that dopamine or whatever it is and craves that workout. It really wants it. So we are all going through a battle. If we are honest with our battle, our inner battle, we will be more in inner peace. And how do we be honest with the inner battle? Listen to the inner self. Make sure that my soul is driving my body. Not my body driving my soul. That's inner peace. Okay. Now I want to tell you two more things and we'll be done. Peace through a greater cause. I really mean it. Two more things. That doesn't mean how long. I'm not telling you how long. But peace through a greater cause. This is the second thing. Have you ever wondered why war brings peace? Sounds crazy. But there's a saying that war brings peace. Hashem oz la'amo yiten. Hashem yevarech et amo b'shalom. When God gives his people strength, he also gives them peace. Why is peace and war... Right, what happened after the war of October 7th? It's still going on. What happened after October 7th to the Jewish people? Reunified. Why? Have you ever wondered why? What is it about war? Now when there were rockets coming from Iran, when there were rockets coming from Iran, then they were coming in, right? And it's not the Iranians, it's the Ayatollahs, we've mentioned that before. So when those rockets were coming in, what happened to the Jewish people in Israel? What was the energy like? It was united, it was one. Why? Why does that happen? What's the one reason that happens?
Common enemy? Rockets don't.
Common enemy? What?
Rockets don't discriminate.
Right, okay.
Shared belief.
Shared belief. I want to tell you something else. Okay, these are all beautiful. But I want to tell you something else. When you have life and death in your face, and there's sirens and everyone's worried, maybe it's going to land on me, suddenly what my neighbor's car is isn't going to bother me as much. All the pettiness falls away. That's the horrible beauty of war. Is that now it's about life and death. And all the stupid stuff doesn't matter anymore. So what does that teach me? It teaches me that if you have a cause that's so great, if you have a good cause in your life, if you're part of something big, then the small things don't matter. I can even say for ourselves, me and Shira, when we started doing our outreach, and 13 years ago on campus, and we moved, and like with the kids, we had 2 kids then, and we moved to Eugene, Oregon. It was like a small little apartment, and we were suddenly hosting. I suddenly felt in myself, and Shira as well, like we both felt like all the stupid stuff that we were always thinking about, other people, and this, jealousy, or if there's we're human. So, all that stuff that we felt suddenly fell out the window. We're part of something much bigger now. When you're part of something bigger, then all the other stuff doesn't matter. And that's very important also. Peace through living a greater cause. Living for something bigger than the self. And it removes the things that are insignificant. Okay? Job is an example. But what about everybody here being part of OBKLA, a great organization that Jen is also part of? Or other things, volunteering, coming to Ishlit, and help move the chairs. Oh, that's right? Or whatever it is. Being part of something greater is always a great way to remove the pettiness of your life. Ask yourself, if you're bothered by stupidity, which you think, or you may think is not so stupid, ask yourself, what am I doing with my life? It says that, what's the biggest challenge of our life? Boredom. Boredom causes a lot of problems. If we are part of something greater, all of that falls apart. Okay? So that's the first message the first of the many things I spoke about. Peace through living for a greater cause. Okay? And what is living for a greater cause? Helping other people. That's what it means, ma'amido ala shalom. Putting people in a place of inner peace. When you help others get to inner peace, you bring inner peace to yourself. How do you do that? Well, you see somebody and he says, I think I can get there. I'm not sure. I started a podcast. Really? You started a podcast? Right? No, that's not a right response. What you should say is, that's awesome. Oh, but there's so many podcasts already. That's not a good response. What you should say is, amazing. Tell me more. Send me the link. I would love to listen to it. You see, that's a way to give someone positive support. And by doing that, you're actually giving yourself inner peace. When you give peace to others, you bring peace on yourself. Okay, so that's a very important aspect also. If they say they are mediocre, I play sports, but I'm not that good, say you're awesome. Right? If you have a conversation, you're talking about something, and they're being a little negative, raise the topic. Don't be obvious. Like, dude! No, do a little bit. But raise the conversation on a higher level. Show them where they're good at. Show their potential. That's so important. Believe in that person you see. I'm telling you, when you bring peace on others, you bring peace on yourself. Okay, why am I telling you all of this? Because we learn about the great Aharon. Aharon HaKohen, the priest of the Jewish people. And what was his story? He was Ohev Shalom and Rodef Shalom. He loved peace and pursued peace. Didn't just love it, he made it a mission of his life. And that isn't about all day long talking about how you can have peace with the rest of the world. You can't change the rest of the world. You can't make peace with parents that are abusive. You can make inner peace with parents that are abusive. Can't change them. But you can change your inner self and the way you reacted to their abusive behavior towards you. That is something you can change. And the list goes on and on and on. The person you dated, you can't make inner peace. You can't make peace with that person if he's an absolute idiot. And he called you overweight. Right? You can't make inner peace with that person if he told you that. Or he doesn't like the way you are dressed. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not married to you yet. And I'm definitely not going to marry you, if that's how you... Right, okay, I'm sorry. But you get my message? My message is, you can't change others, you can change your inner self, and inner peace is the source of real shalom. And that's what shalom means. Taking the battle in you, moving it around, finding your purpose, elevating your negative aspects in you, using whatever, well, it's not negative, but the animal aspects of you, and elevating it to get to a complete circle, which is shalom. That's what shalom is. So my blessing to everyone is, you can be like Aaron. It says that by Aaron, he died. When he died, the whole Jewish people cried for him. The men, the women, the children, everyone cried for him, because they all knew who he was. He remembered everyone's name. He knew everyone. He was a positive person. Everyone cried for him. When Moses died, not everyone cried as much. Everyone cried, but not as much. Aaron, everyone cried much more, because his mission was peace. It says that he brought the cloud of God into the world. That's what peace does. Peace brings God's energy into the room. And that's what we need. We need it badly right now. And it starts in your house. It starts in your heart. It starts there and it spreads outwards. Just like Kiddush and Shabbat, we're meant to overflow the wine after Shabbat. You know what you're meant to do after Shabbat? You make Havdalah. And that wine of Havdalah, you're meant to overflow. For some reason, all my wine, before Shabbat and after Shabbat, always overflows. So we'll talk about that another time. But after Shabbat, it finishes, you do Havdalah, you're meant to fill your cup and it's meant to overflow. Because that's a blessing. When you're blessed within, you did a Shabbat now, you filled yourself with godliness, peace, right? Shabbat Shalom, then you can spread the wine out to the week. Shalom Aleichem. Okay, anyway, you could say back Aleichem HaShalom. And I love you all. Thank you so much for listening. If there's any questions, I'd love to have them. Yes?
So it's like 36% off topic, but you mentioned...
Wow, that's precise. It's precisely off topic. Okay?
You mentioned angels earlier, and how there's
Yes.
an angel that controls everything. I heard there's an angel that controls every blade of grass. Is
Right.
there a name for every angel?
Yes, that's what I was saying. I don't know all the names. I don't know what the name of the dude on the grass is called.
Is there like a name for every blade of grass angel?
Yeah. Well, I don't know the name of each blade of grass. I was thinking to make a funny joke now, but I think I'll hold off. Whatever, about grass. Okay, but anyway, yes, there's an angel there's an angel on top of every blade of grass, and I don't know the name of that one. But that's the point. Every angel has one mission, and it's very clear for them. Yes, they all have names. Every angel has very clear what his mission is, and that's what we should learn from that. Like, Oseh Shalom b'mrumav, Yaseh Shalom aleinu. We need to know our mission, find out what our mission is, be happy with our mission. That's really Any other questions? That was a good question. Anyone else? Yes?
So you said in the beginning that rejection, like you going through it and makes you stronger.
Yes.
What is the discussion versus like someone that was like from birth, let's say?
Religious from birth, yeah.
Yeah, and got married very young.
Right.
Didn't go through all those trials and tribulations versus the person who goes through all of them and then let's say gets married. What is the discussion?
So we say that there's no one wiser than someone who went through a challenge. But that doesn't mean we should put ourselves in a challenge. We don't pray to be in a challenge. But there's no one wiser. Let's say someone who went through years of dating and rejection is going to have a lot more input than someone who didn't, because he's got experience. That's 100% true. It could very well be that someone who had a lot of experience could teach me something or two about dealing with rejection and how they deal with it.
But do you feel that like the first example that without knowing, like there's something like ignorance is bliss, like you're not knowing all the trials and tribulations, you can live like a different existence of life.
Right.
It's a little bit more beautiful.
Yeah. If you're asking about rejection specifically, then going to someone who went through all these experiences, then for him, he's going to have more power and understanding in some ways. But the person that never went through that, who grew up just got married very young and never went through any of that rejection, there's also blessing in that. There's the idea of sometimes, and it's not only about I'm being rejected. It's also something sometimes that I can reflect and blame myself. We just don't like to do it. Okay? So the guy that's never went out, a lot of times he's not judging too much about appearance. He just went out once and said, wow, this is perfect for me, and jumped on it. Right? He's not being, in some ways, I'll tell you this, when someone dates and dates and dates, at some point he says no to a girl, let's say, he says no to a girl at one point, then 5 years later he sees another girl, he's like, well, I said no to a girl that was 5 years ago, I'm not going to say no, I'm going to for sure say no to this. Do you understand what happens to a person? In your head, you say, once you reject, you are the rejecter, then you're comparing all of your new dates to your previous rejections. And that's a big problem. That's another challenge that people go through. You start saying, I rejected 10 people. The first one was way nicer than this one. So if I rejected the first one, I should for sure reject this. And it makes it very hard to commit to someone after. That's not impossible, but it makes it hard. So be careful. That's why it's not so simple to go out with anyone and everyone that comes your way. It's much more important to have clear definition of what I really need in my life and not just take every date that comes your way. It's much more important to know yourself, what you really want. Don't convince yourself, that person's not, they're not so Jewish like me or whatever. They don't do Shabbat. I keep Shabbat. Let's say you're a person that keeps Shabbat. Don't convince yourself, they don't keep Shabbat, but whatever, that's not how it works. Don't date in the first place. If you know that their values are completely different than yours, then don't date. It's important to make sure you have similar values. I know some people will tell me opposite, but I think it's a mistake to think I have to date every person that comes my way. It'll drive you insane. You lose your mind. Yeah.
If you found a certain level of peace, you're not dating or anything like that, you're not hitched up to somebody. Peace. Introducing new people to that can be challenging. How do you confront? What would be a good way to confront that type of challenge?
So that's not peace. That's what I would call. I'm sorry if I'm being very very straight up. It's not peace. That's what I would call being in some way lazy, being stuck in my place, and being comfortable, looking for comfort. That's your body talking. At peace it's not peace, because if 20 years from now, if you're still in that place, you'll be upset. You'll say, why didn't I move forward then? So if I'm at peace because I'm at peace with the fact, let's say, that I'm single and I don't need to date anyone, that's not being at peace. That's not living your life to your fullest. I think everyone here has a body for a reason, and you're fertile at a certain age for a reason, and you need to at some point get married and build a family. No one should say I'm at peace with the fact that I don't need a woman in my life, or a girl says I don't need a guy in my life. I'm at peace with it. That's a mistake. A person should always push himself. What did I say last week? That marriage is not just a space; it's a space of growth, and we all need to grow. No one should be 20 and then look right and then say, okay, in 60 years I'm going to be exactly the same person as I am now. That would be a sad thing. If at 60 look back and I'm like, there's no difference between now than when I was 20, besides for the gray hairs. That's a sad thing. No one wants that. So we should never be at peace. When I say be at peace, I'm at peace with my effort. I'm at peace with me putting in my part.
So then how?
I'm doing, but I'm at peace with me doing what I need to do.
So if somebody's then stuck in that rut, as you say,
He's not stuck in that because he's still dating.